one of the most interesting things about things that the research that I've been doing is I think the book was called "The Paradox of the Decline of Female Happiness," and they started it sort of they started doing surveys on people's sense of well-being and happiness and satisfaction with their lives, and consistently, women scored higher than men across the board, right? In the U.S. and Canada, like consistently higher than men, all the way across until the 70s, right? And then male happiness started to taper off. Female happiness went like that. It just went in the bucket. It crossed, they were always more happy than men, and then it crossed that line, and now they are less happy than men. Everybody's less happy overall. But women are now less happy than men for the first time since we started recording it, since we started asking the question. Right? And what happened in the 70s? A bunch of feminists came and told women how unhappy they were. Right? And I honestly think that women's biggest problem in the 60s and 70s was not oppression, it was boredom and a feeling of purposelessness. Because prior to that, keeping a house and looking after your family would take you 14 hours a day. And it was 14 hours a day of heavy work, not, light dusting. It was heavy work. And your husband wasn't there to help you because he was working 60 hours a week, paving roads or something like that, right? Or working in a factory. And that's if you were lucky. If you were unlucky, your husband was working paving roads and you were working in a factory, and your children were in your mother's care for that 8 hours a day that you both worked. And so the unlucky ones were the ones who had no choice but to work. The bored housewife of the 60s and 70s had no experience in that. They had no experience of having no choice, right? Because women have always had the choice to find an interest, to invest. Like, look at me, I never went to university. I found something to consume my passions. I have always worked a blue-collar job, but I have always found things that I enjoy doing, often very gender-subversive things like installing flooring and, rewiring my light fixtures and things like that, right? I've always been able to pursue interests, whatever interests me. And women in the 60s and 70s were no different. They were always able to pursue that. They weren't necessarily able to have a career that paid them to do that. But if the problem with no name was that you were not fulfilled, right? Then what does money have to do with that? There's plenty of ways that you just volunteer. You just go do. You fix up, uninstall your old toilet and put in a new one, right? If you really want to challenge the stereotypes, right? Learn how to install a toilet and then install one. It's you don't have to be a plumber to do that. You just do it, right? Women have always been able to do that. They wanted something more. It was something more than fulfillment. They wanted recognition and respect and kudos and applause and flattery and all kinds of other things too, right? And part of the reason why they had that hole in them was because men had made their lives so easy. Men had given them dishwashers and TV dinners and canned foods and vacuum cleaners, and you didn't have to take the rugs out and hang them on a clothesline and beat them with a rod, right? They'd given them all of these things, washing machines and dryers and all. You didn't have to do your laundry in a cauldron in the yard and bring it out with a laundry wheel. You had a washing machine that you just stuck it in there and turned it on and went away, right? And you were bored because there was no work to do, right? So men had worked so hard to provide a life of ease for their wives, and their wives paid them by saying, I'm bored and it's your fault. You're oppressing me, right? I don't feel fulfilled. I don't have anything to do. And because of that, you're an asshole, right? So I mean, I really find it difficult to consider the women of the 60s and 70s to have been oppressed. Were they limited in their choices? Yes. Men have always been limited. Men are still way more limited in their choices than women are, right? But they weren't oppressed, and I don't think men are oppressed, not unless somebody is going to prison, right, for an unjust reason. You're not being oppressed. The pressure to shave your legs, the social pressure to shave your legs is not oppression. The fact that they make ladies' pants with pockets too small for their cell phone is not oppression. And this is the kind of oppression that I see a lot of feminists bitching about online, right? They consider that oppression. They consider going to jail with no due process because your wife charged you with domestic assault. They don't consider that oppression. They consider that male privilege backfiring.